Welcome back here into Cayden's Weather Center. We have a lot to be paying attention to as we go on throughout today. The biggest severe weather threat we've had pretty much in all of August here. We have a lot to be paying attention to, and we're going to talk about it right here in this video. We talked about it a little bit yesterday here, but we're going to pay attention to it and see kind of what we're expecting here throughout the next couple of hours heading into tonight, especially because it seems like we're going to be having some pretty big storms here in the night hours for parts of the Midwest. So not much has changed with the Storm Prediction Center at all and what they're anticipating here. We kind of can clearly still see this is our area right over here. We have that enhanced risk right in this region right here that we're paying attention to, with a slight risk stretching from Nebraska all the way over here until Wisconsin, going into Minnesota, South Dakota, and parts of Wyoming, still getting a little bit of that as well. So we're going to keep an eye out on this, and not just this area, but some of the Northeast, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island could be dealing with some pretty strong storms as well tonight, as we can be seeing, as there is a slight risk for that. Obviously, our main area that we're paying attention to mostly is going to be in this enhanced and slight risk area right over here for the possibilities of a tornado, strong winds, or some strong hail. We definitely want to keep an eye out on this. This does include a couple cities that we can clearly kind of see here. We can see Minneapolis. You're one of the biggest cities right in there that we could be paying attention to. Sioux Falls, St. Cloud. And definitely want to pay attention to that. But as we continue to move off, or a little bit closer to these areas, we see a lot of interstates involved. So, and especially because these storms are expected to be at nighttime, if you are driving or traveling on one of these interstates going through these areas, please be making sure you are definitely staying weather alert. Let's take a look here at the future radar and what we could be expecting here in the next couple of hours. Obviously, we're going to be anticipating some more storms to obviously form here in the next couple hours. This is about 1 p.m. Eastern time. So the time, if you do not know, the time is up here, right over here, 1 p.m. Time right here that we're going to be anticipating it. This is Eastern time, so obviously an hour less than this would be Central time. So I will make sure to put that out there, especially. Then we let's head into around 4 p.m. Central time. That's when we're starting to possibly see some of these bigger storms start to ramp up here in the slight risk area just in eastern Wyoming, heading into western South Dakota, and a little bit of scattered thunderstorms we could be seeing already starting here in the enhanced region. But what I will say is this area right here, and this definitely needs to be paying attention to, especially when they move off to the east here. We could be seeing something very different here over in the overnight hours, that is for sure. Then we head into around 7 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Central. Very, very strong storms that we could be seeing here in Minnesota. And same thing with this whole big line of storms too. They're just going to constantly keep getting stronger and stronger as they go on throughout the overnight hours as well. But then we head into around 10 p.m. tonight on Eastern time, 9 Central. There's that. You have one big area of storms over here, and then you have this one right here. What I would say is this one on the eastern side probably will most likely be the worst side of the storms. Yes, you'll have these storms over here, but I think this one will be a little bit more worse than the one that's off to the west of it. But still, no matter what, these storms are going to continue to push off to the east and really hammer a lot of places. So this is 9 p.m. tonight here Central time. Then we're continuing to see these storms really go into the overnight hours. So even though we had this storm already kind of go through this enhanced risk area, we're going to see another possible strong storms heading into the enhanced risk area. Will it be as strong? Most likely it will not be as strong, but still some pretty strong thunderstorms could definitely be anticipated here. Same with the flash flooding, as depending on how much rainfall happens here. Heading into tomorrow morning, or heading into early tomorrow morning here, 4 a.m. Central time. These storms over here are in parts of northern Wisconsin, really heading into Canada. Minneapolis, you guys could be getting some more storms here in the early morning, tomorrow morning here. Then we continue to pay attention to it very, very closely, heading into around 6 a.m. as people are starting to wake up to go to work here at Central Time tomorrow. Minneapolis, you guys are in that storms as well, but Wisconsin needs to be paying attention to it. Because there is that severe weather threat for different tomorrow. The severe weather threat does continue on into this area right here. Then we kind of take a look here, 10 a.m. tomorrow Eastern time here, Central time 9 a.m. strong storms right off the, right off the coast of Michigan here, and then still some storms off here in Wisconsin. So something to be paying attention to definitely as we go on, and we're going to possibly see a little bit more heading into tomorrow evening. We'll see some heavier rain over here in northern Minnesota. Most of those storms will stay off into Canada here, but then we have a little bit more of a severe weather possible threat down here where it could be heading for possible Chicago, Milwaukee. You guys need to be paying attention to that as it heads into tomorrow evening, and really we'll start to get more and more scattered as we go on, stretching from Missouri all the way into Illinois, still over here in Chicago, Illinois, Indiana, and parts of Michigan tomorrow night. So once again, here's your area right here that we're paying attention to. Enhanced risk right here in this area right here. We can clearly see that does include Minneapolis right here. Rapid City, you are in the slight risk here. Milwaukee, you are also in the slight risk. Sioux Falls, you guys are in the enhanced risk here. Duluth, you guys can see you're in the slight risk. So no matter what, we're going to see some pretty strong storms no matter what. Really majority in this circle right here. For the slight risk and the enhanced risk, we're going to see majority of those big storms that we could be anticipating. The tornado threat obviously is not a big major outbreak or anything like that, but it is still out there, so we cannot rule out a couple tornadoes to start forming here from the storms tonight. We will have to pay attention to it definitely very, very closely here. Heading into the wind threat, that's going to be one of our biggest issues here. 30%. Right here in that red, but then if you take a look here at these little dashed areas right in here, that is significant to severe possible winds. So we could be seeing possible over 80-mile-an-hour winds with this storm, and same with possible 4-inch or more than 2-inch in diameter here that we could be seeing in this area, the red and the possible yellow, but really more in the kind of the black outline here with the black slashes. That is significant to severe for the hail and the wind. That's going to be our biggest threats that we're paying attention to. Taking a look here at another simulated radar on what we're going to be anticipating here for the Midwest. So in the next 5 hours here, we can clearly see that we're already starting to see some possible rain starting to form here. A little bit of storms also over here, parts of Wyoming and Montana. We could clearly see that. Then we head into 6 hours, 10 hours out. This is when we start to really see it. So heading into tonight, definitely in the evening time, storms start to pop off and head into South Dakota. Possible rain in North Dakota as well, but then we have another storm system also trying to form right in this. So this is a little bit of a break area for this time. Then we see these storms will continue to push off. So Minnesota, and then heading into South Dakota, you guys definitely need to be on the lookout here as we head into 10 hours out. Then we head into a little bit more, 13 hours out. We can clearly see very strong storms heading through Minnesota. And once again, this will be the worst area for the enhanced area. This will be more of the worst storms for this area. Then we still have these strong storms that we also still cannot rule out a possible, strong winds and all of that, especially when it already continues off. Then we head into around early tomorrow morning here. We can clearly see some pretty strong storms are going to continue to push off over here to the northeast and then also off to the east as well. Then it will be a little bit more of a different scenario down here. And if we take a look at this, take a look at here at the different area heading into tomorrow, we can clearly see 29 hours from now, we can clearly see tomorrow afternoon, we're seeing a little bit of those storms possibly heading into northern Michigan. Most of them bigger storms staying into Canada still, but then we're still going to concern, we're going to have that little bit of concern here in northern Michigan as we do see a pretty big, derecho looking type storm here going over into Michigan. And then as you can see, 42 hours out, we can clearly see some storms possibly heading into New York. Parts of Pennsylvania could be seeing it, Indiana, and then also some down here in Missouri. We could be seeing a lot of these storms start to pop off in some of these areas. So definitely something to be paying attention to. If we head into the supercell, kind of the supercell parameter here, what could we be expecting? The chances for, a pretty big supercell to really start to form here. We could see in the next 12 hours, very, very likely, we're going to be seeing some possible supercells here down in parts of Nebraska heading into Iowa. And we're going to continue to see that as we go on throughout the next couple of hours as well. In the next, maybe 5, 6, 7 hours, we can clearly see heading into tonight. We could possibly see in this evening, we could be seeing majority of those supercells starting to be in southern Minnesota. Then they start to push down a little bit more off to the south, but a little bit stronger, though, I would say, of a chance with supercells. And then tomorrow we start possibly seeing a little bit more of supercells trying to form itself somewhere in this area according to this model. Heading into the tornado parameter, though, this is something we obviously pay attention to very closely. In 6 hours here, what we're anticipating here, so heading into this evening as well, some possibility for those tornado chances do go up here as we're in southern Minnesota. We could be seeing something interesting. Then we head into 12, 13 hours from now, possibly heading into tonight. This is where we're starting to see some possible storms here in northern Nebraska, where we could be seeing a possibility for some strong storms. And then we head into around 18, 26, 28, and all these other hours. We still have those slight areas here that we could possibly be seeing a little bit of severe weather or the tornado threat here, but not too big of a tornado threat. That is definitely good news that we don't have too big of a tornado threat that we're paying attention to as much, but it's something to pay attention to no matter what. Taking a look at the temperatures though, a little bit more of a different scenario that we're paying attention to. Heading into this afternoon, as you can obviously see, heading into the evening time, we still have temperatures over here in Nebraska, Iowa, parts of southern Minnesota reaching up into the 90s, the lower 90s, maybe even the mid 90s here in Iowa and all that. Over here, and where our biggest severe threat is still kind of in the lower 80s, or possibly up in the upper 70s here. Then as we go on throughout the rest of the night here, we're going to see some of these temperatures definitely drop here in this region into possibly below 60 degrees in some areas, and we're also going to see 65 and below in some of these areas. And we're starting to see that as we go on throughout really the next couple of days, we're starting to get those fall type and colder temperatures at nighttime, which is some good news because we're definitely needing the cool downs here, but that's really because we're having a couple fronts coming down. But as we're paying attention to, obviously, the cold temperatures, we're going to still see some of those severe storms. So no matter what, we're going to clearly see that we have these big storms continuing on with the severe weather threat. A lot to be paying attention to as we go on throughout this evening as well. So please be making sure you are staying tuned to your local National Weather Service, and you are staying tuned to your news station, whatever you're paying attention to or watching. We're wanting to pay attention to this, especially if you live in this enhanced risk area. I do want to say I might be having a live stream. I do not know the exact probability. I will be posting it later on my X page, but please make sure to subscribe and leave a like down below for some more updates here on the weather. I'm trying to get them up. More videos uploaded every day here talking about the weather. The tropics are another thing I want to start talking about a little bit more. I don't know where the tropics are right now as we're heading into the end of August. We'll have another video on that a little bit later on. But definitely our biggest concern right now is that severe weather threat. So please make sure you're staying tuned. Possibilities of a live stream are tonight here heading into the overnight hours. Please make sure you are following my X page for the latest information. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. And bye-bye.